This video is going to be the latest installment in the Vanguard Citicar restoration resto mod project that I've been having going on in my garage. When I dragged this thing home, I said it was going to be a 6-month project, and I think I've had it for 2 or 3 years now. So we're getting there. But we're finally getting rolling on it, and what we're going to be doing in this video is installing kind of the heart of the operation, the batteries and the power systems. That's going to be the batteries, the chargers, the 12-volt step downs, all that good stuff. I'm going to be mocking it up to figure out what I need as far as bracketry and whatnot so I can get that taken care of this next week. And we're starting off with using lithium batteries. We're going from lead to lithium from Epic battery. Now what that's going to do is it's going to cut several hundred pounds of weight off the car. It's going to give it more power, it's going to give it more range, and it's going to actually last a lot longer because these batteries will last for a decade versus a couple years using the leads. But before we do that, I want to address some of the questions that we had come up in the last video. The first one, which came up several times, was it's pronounced epoch. E-P-O-C-H. I wasn't actually sure how to pronounce it, so I wanted to make the video right. I contacted the company and they confirmed Epic. If they want to chime in and tell me I'm wrong, I will change it in the next video. But they told me Epic, so that's what I'm rolling with. The next comment that I saw several times was, you know what you should do? You should Hayabusa swap it. And while I admit, I think that would be really cool, somebody on the web has already done it, and it's more of a project than what I want. I want this thing to be electric. So that's why we're sticking with electric. And then I had plenty of comments telling me, why are you doing an electric car? You know, and bragging on electric cars. Well, I'll tell you why. I have things that run on diesel. I have plenty of things that run on gasoline. I also have things that run on gasoline and electricity. I have two-wheel things that run on gasoline. I have two-wheel things that run on feet power and electric feet power. But you know what I don't have? Something that runs on just electricity. I also got a little bit of feedback on other things I should be including in the car, and one of the things that I still need to figure out is the actual motor controller and whatnot. So if you've got suggestions on that, leave that down below. That's going to be the next purchase so I get this thing rolling down the road. Another quick update is in the last video I told you how when I brought it home I told my wife, great news, it doesn't leak anything, it's an electric car.
A detector test determined that was a lie.
And it still is leaking. That's the gear oil on the rear end still coming out of it, and it's still leaking brake fluid because I still have one brake I've got to repair. So that'll be coming up soon too. The last comment I wanted to address was a commenter that lost their mind because I referred to this thing as a her, and that it is not a sentient being and it can't be called a her. Well, guess what? I'm still going to call it her. If you'd like to go find that comment in the last video and make fun of that person, go for it. If you want to find that comment and tell me I'm wrong, go for it too. But I do talk about in that video why I call it a her and why its name is Gail. So if you want to find out, check out my last video. But right now, let's get into showing you what we have to put in the car, and then we're going to start mocking it up and figure out what else we need. So like I had shown in the last video, this car is set up very similar to a golf cart. The batteries actually go underneath the seat of the car along with some of the other electronics. Now I have 1, 2, 3 in here, and I have one more sitting on the workbench. These are 48-volt batteries, whereas normally you'd be using 6-volt golf cart batteries. And with these, I need 4 of them to get me enough juice to actually be able to handle what that motor wants. But in addition to the batteries, I got all this stuff I've got to sort and all these wires I got to figure out. So we've got the other battery sitting there, our charger, our charging port for the side of the car, the actual gauge that'll tell us what the car is doing, blocks, Bluetooth controller so I can actually Bluetooth into the car, and all the other necessary wiring along with the 12-volt step down. So right now, let's just get everything in the car and mocked up, and we'll see how it goes. So with this setup, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to mount the batteries back in the back of the battery trays. So I have some room in the front here to mount the additional components. I also have a tray right here where a battery normally went. We don't need to put a battery there. So we're going to move everything kind of near the back. And once we figure out their permanent locations, then I'm going to install straps to hold these things down so they don't float around inside the car. Now, another cool thing to note with these batteries is that these batteries are not like traditional lead batteries. These are off. These are not hot right now. I could lick them. I'm not going to, but I could lick them and I wouldn't have a problem. You power the batteries up and down. So I don't have to worry about when I'm putting tools in here, arcing anything. until I turn the batteries on. And the batteries all connect to a bus bar. Now in a regular golf cart situation, you would be connecting these in series. With this, because these are already 48-volt cells, we're going to be connecting them in parallel. It's part of why you need this. I'm going to temporarily reinstall these just to hold everything in place while I get everything else hooked up. Next up, so I don't have to do this in the car, we're just going to come in and install each one of our leads. These are the leads that are going to be going off to the batteries themselves. And then finally, also connected to this bus bar is our charging lead. So this is the lead that's going to run off to our charger. Now there's two other things that also have to hook into this bus bar, and today I'm just going to be hooking up, this is the leads to the step-down converter. So this converts the 48 volts down to 12 volts so I can run all my dash, lights, all that good stuff. So I'm going to just double up on one of these right now because I don't have an extra spot. Now the one other thing that I do need to do on here is actually hook up a couple of these. This is for the gauge cluster that's going to be going up on the dashboard. So I have this one, I got this one kind of doubled up in here, and I'm actually not sure if that's an appropriate way to do it or if that's going to cause an issue. Let me know if you know more than I do down below, and I will get a larger bus bar if necessary. But right now I'm just going to repeat the same process on the other side. And now I'll just come back in and reinstall the covers so things don't get sparky. So now I've got this big spider that's got to go into the car, and this would actually be a perfect opportunity for me to background music, no doubt spider webs, but I don't want a copyright strike, so we're going to throw this guy right down in the middle. And I'm already noticing I may rearrange these wires because it's getting a little wide for this spot. It will fit, but I can also rechannel the wires up the middle of this bus bar, and then I won't have this problem. So that's going to be, this is just the mock-up, so that's going to be a later me problem. So now I'll just go battery by battery and install the cables, black to minus, red to plus. And like I said before, the beautiful thing about these batteries is they are off till they're on. So right now I'm installing these, but I don't have to worry about accidentally getting sparky when I cross things over. One thing I'm noticing here, which is nice, is the kit that I got from Epic. All the wires are running long. This compartment's a little bit wider than I think a lot of golf carts would be, so if you're putting this in a golf cart, it's a little concerned about having the batteries so far apart. But even with that, I still have plenty of room. I can route these wires all the way around, tuck them, and not have them really tight, which is nice. I've got a lot of room with these cables. And all these cables also already came with all the ends on them, so I don't have to deal with any of that as well, crimping ends on these things, my lousy connections coming loose. All right, so I got 2 of our 4 batteries connected. Let's do the other side. Well, hello from the other side. There's another copywritten song I can't use. Let's get this one going. All right, so we got all of our power lines hooked up here. We now have to make a few more connections with the CAN bus connectors, and then we should be able to power this up and see if it works. So now we're going to come in with the CAN bus connectors. Those connect into these little ports right here, and they allow the batteries to chat with each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to just plug one into the next. I'm also noticing these come up a little bit higher, but height-wise, this will still clear my seat bench. So that's good news. One thing I don't have to worry about. All right, so now I got these two talking to each other. My challenge is going to be getting this side to talk to that side, because I'm not sure if the cables that I have are long enough, but let's find out. So I kind of feared this. My CAN bus cables are this long, and that is not long enough to make it across. I'm short by about 4 inches. So I've got 2 options now. I can either, 1, try to order a longer cable, or 2, I can move my bus bar down there over to one of the sides, and I can move one of the batteries into the battery holder that's right there in the middle. Initially I was thinking I'm just going to order a larger bus bar, but I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move one of the batteries on this side to the middle, because usually it's just going to be me driving this thing, so that'll help even the weight out. It's a very lightweight car. My wife and daughter have already said they are not setting foot in this death trap, so I guess that'll work. So I'm going to do a little rearranging here, and then we'll get the last connector hooked up. Now that's also the nice thing about these batteries being so light. The lead batteries weigh like twice what these weigh. I can just kind of manhandle these things around. So let me move this guy back in place now. Like I said, this is a mock-up, so it's just me figuring out where everything is going to go. So we're just going to kind of place it there for now and figure out where this thing's going to mount later. I already see, I think, where I'm going to mount it. There's a bar right there, but that'll get this mocked up. So now I got enough room to get that cable across. The other cable I got to get in place is this CAN bus connector. This sucker connects to the gauge cluster and tells the car what it's doing. So let me get this thing plugged into this battery, and that's done. And now I should have, yep, just enough clearance to get this one plugged in. All right, so now in theory, we should have all of our batteries hooked up correctly. They should all be talking to each other. Everything's been tightened down. I'm gonna hook up the gauge cluster and the charger, and we're gonna fire this thing up and see if it works. If it works, now I have a good idea of where everything's gonna be placed, so I can start mocking up mounting bracketry and plates to mount everything too. So let's get those last two things hooked up. So the first thing is our charger here. And the original charger for this thing is like 4 times the size of it and under the dash. I'm going to be removing the under the dash charger and replacing it with this one. And I'm going to try to use the original port on the side of the car so it looks original from the outside. Now this one is set up to pull from straight regular 110 wall current. Now let's go get that gauge. And the gauge here is real simple. It just has a little connector here, clicks right in place. Now the reason you need a gauge like this and you can't rely on the old voltage gauge that used to be on the dashboards is lithium batteries operate a little bit different. They don't have a regular discharge curve. They kind of stay level and then dive off at the end. So normally with lithium batteries, you'd have to run a shunt, which is something that goes in between your batteries and whenever's pulling the current. That will tell you how much current has been pulled through, and then it can calculate how much juice you've got left. These batteries, since they've got brains in them and they're all talking to each other, already know that. So it's just going to transmit that to this. So this, think of this kind of like a fuel gauge. So now, if I did everything right, fingers crossed, if I power up these batteries, we should start seeing something on the gauge, and I should be able to charge them with the charger. So let's give it a shot. I'm going to fire up my first battery. Gauge is alive. Second battery. Third battery, fourth battery. So I've got all 4 batteries turned on right now, and it's showing that I have 49% battery. It's showing my amp draw, which is great. It'll show me everything I need going down the road, so I know what's going on. Now let's plug in the charger and see if it registers that it's charging. So we've got the charger right here. Like I said, this will be hard mounted later. Let's plug this guy in and see if we actually get something to happen. And don't pull a breaker. So charger is on. I can actually see here, I heard the cooling fan kick on, and I can see here that it is flashing. Let's see what the gauge is now telling us. So the gauge is now indicating 14.8 amps. So it is actively charging the batteries. So we're going to let this charge for a little bit and see if we can get it up. I don't want to charge them too much because the lithium batteries like to be in kind of a storage state. So I'll put about 10% into the batteries. What's great, because they all communicate with each other, is the batteries talk to each other, and the batteries will make sure they're charged up correctly and not overcharged. So I've got my extension cord running over to the car, charging it up. We're gonna put about 10% in the battery, so it's still in kind of a storage charge, because I still have a lot more work to do on this thing. But now that I've got it kind of mocked up, I know where I'm starting off from. So now I've got to make some mounting plates, and I got some cool tricks for those that I've used at other projects that I'll show you in our upcoming videos of this car. So if you wanna see the rest of this project, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. But I've now got the power plant going, and I do wanna say a great big thank you to Epic Batteries, because I would not be getting this thing back on the road as quickly as I am. And I know I say quickly as I am, it's been years that this thing's been sitting in my garage, but I'm finally getting moving on it. So big thank you to them, because the batteries were kind of the biggest component of this project that I was trying to figure out what I was gonna go with. I do want to address a comment though that I got in my previous video, which is this thing burning down my house. And yes, lithium fires are a real thing. I've seen them myself. I lit a lithium battery on fire on that workbench back there and nearly burned a hole straight through the workbench and therefore my house. My wife was not at all happy with me. These are not those batteries. These are lithium iron phosphate batteries, different tech. They don't have the same problems that the lithium batteries have, the lipos have, of like thermal runaway and bursting into flames and stuff like that. The other thing is, remember that CAN bus I was showing you? Each battery has a little BMS in it. It's a battery controller. It charges the charge and discharge of the battery. It'll automatically shut down and regulate the current coming out of the battery so you don't accidentally damage it. It'll prevent you from over discharging and overcharging. So these have a lot of safety built into them, and they're also American batteries, so I trust them. Now I'm a lot closer to getting this thing back on the road, but there are still things that I have to get done. I've got to get all the brackets and those things pinned down, but I also need to do the motor controller and get all the 12-volt wiring done. So if you have any experience with that, if you have recommendations, I would really appreciate some recommendations on motor controllers. I'm sticking with the standard brushed motor right now. Brushless is a whole other thing that I'm not going to tackle maybe someday in the future. But anyway, I hope you got something out of this video or enjoyed it or are laughing at me because I have this in my garage. But if you do, hit that thumbs up button to subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, thanks for watching.